I don't have to do a game. Oh.
We get time.
This game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that on loud?
Missed all of last year due to right shoulder surgery. 0-1 is drilled deep out to left field. Back goes Antuna as he loads up, and that is... What I say now. One more time.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Tigers Minor League Report podcast here at TigersMLReport.com and JustBaseball.com, as we are officially partners with a great website in Just Baseball, who they just are. We have a lot of friends over there, like Tyler Jennings, who I used to work with over at Prospects Live. Of course, Clay Sloden, big record player guy. Like we got into, we talk like a lot of vinyl records lately. Congratulations to him. He just had his first baby daughter a few weeks ago. And he sent me a picture of him watching her. She's in her crib and he's listening to the records. And so it's pretty cool.
Nice. Very cool.
But yeah, so you can find podcasts like Just a Baseball Show, the Call-Up Show, the College Baseball Show. There's a Seattle Mariners podcast called Marine Layer Podcast, the Bucko Banter. So those guys just started following us. Future Sox, which we're familiar with, those guys over there, Elijah and James Fox, good people. The Sports Card CEO Show, Rockies Insider, and Raise the Roof. I like that name quite a bit. Alex Murphy, who I'm familiar with as well. Yeah, go check them out. Just go to justbaseball.com and you can check out the podcast. Our podcast is not exactly up there yet, but it will be. And they're doing their MLB draft stuff too. They're also doing a draft show as well. So,
immediately in competition.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like, hopefully people, I mean, we want as many people watching this as possible, but I hope people aren't coming to us, for national draft coverage. They want the Tigers coverage. I mean, it's, what we talk about everybody else, but, I'm not going to dig deep into who the Rockies are going to take.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Rogers' time is up. Thank you, Charles, for the $10 here.
Exquisite.
Lazy defense in New York in the ninth. Awful at bats in Houston, below 500 OPS. Baseball defensive metrics are poor. He isn't the guy anymore. Time for Nido or Valencia. Charles, I respect you for coming out and just come out all guns blazing on that one. He isn't wrong either. I mean, the metrics to a certain extent have not looked good for Rogers. I have to back at the lazy defense in New York, referring to.
What do pitchers think about him? Because that's the only thing that matters is how pitchers feel like pitching to him. And Tigers starting pitching has been pretty outstanding for going on a month now, give or take the occasional Framber meltdown lately for whatever reason. But it's not that big of a deal. The backup catcher.
Yeah,
and the team seems to like him, and he's kind of the leader in the clubhouse. You're not gonna what is he? I mean, it does kind of suck that Dingler has to DH even when Rogers is catching, but that's because Dingler's too good of a hitter. So I guess maybe if they had another hitter that they felt really positive on offensive contributions, they might feel better about giving Dingler more days off. But even still, I mean, I don't think you ever want to take that bat out of your lineup. So,
yeah,
it's I mean, he's a free agent after this year. He'll be gone, or they'll re-sign him to a 1-year deal for very cheap.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think it makes a big difference that Gleyber Torres is not in the lineup, and that's the only reason why Dingler is batting second right now and not getting a chance to get a time off. But it would be nice to have another bat emerge to give some time off to Dingler, because as we know, catching right now, especially in this heat, man, just a salute to him on that, because guy's been out there and you really don't want to, especially if the Tigers have to go, 40 and something ridiculous to even sniff the postseason. So you want your catcher, you want Dingler to be as healthy as possible. And we'll kick things off a little bit. We're just Brandon, we're just going over our new partnership with Just Baseball as a part of their podcast network. So and then Lorenzo's out. He was in the dugout. I saw him on Friday. I saw him Friday in Akron. Same thing with Pacheco too. So I'm not assuming Lorenzo's not gonna be out for too long. Plus, they're saying it was just around the corner at some point. We'll see him in Erie, and we'll get to Erie in their 9-1. They went absolutely bonkers on Akron, and finally saw some tight pitching games the last couple of days. The offense went back to earth a little bit, but no, in the starting pitching, all that great starting pitching. What sucks about that is you don't see a guy like Casey Mize get rewarded for the All-Star game. I mean, look, I understand Tarek Skubal missed a lot of starts. Maybe that's what happened with Mize, but the Tigers, who are off tonight, they'll start playing a 3-game series with the A's. Congratulations to Kevin McGonigal, the prodigal son has returned to save the Tigers infield. Dylan Dingler, first-time All-Star, and Riley Green with his third not All-Star appearance. And then yesterday he decided to just have one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Just that diving catching man out there, just a like the million, that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good example. Riley Green finally got his first day off of the year and then just went apeshit. So yeah, I told you guys need to rest once in a while. Dingler included. But yeah, that was an amazing catch. Some people were like, oh, if he'd missed that, it would have been trouble. But he wasn't going to get it anyway. So, it was just going to be Outman running it down to the wall one way or the other. So he sold all the way out, and that was a heck of a catch for sure. And yeah, going Oppo off the wall too. We don't see him go opposite field with power as much sometimes as we'd like to because we know it's in there. But yeah, he hit that triple off the wall as well after the homer. Heck of a game. Pretty much the Riley Green game of the season.
That homer was very aesthetically pleasing too. When he catches it and hits it 8,000 feet in the air. Yeah, and that left field catch, like that's also a great example of Riley Green's. He's limited in terms of his athleticism and his reads and stuff like that. He's not. I don't think he's ever going to be a Gold Glover, but he makes more diving, spectacular catches than just about anybody in the league. So, it's very rare when he dives and doesn't catch the ball. So he gets to all the entire radius that he can.
Yeah, when he was first coming up as a center fielder, I do remember some people talking about he's not that fast, but he closes on the ball as well as anybody, and that has pretty much proven out. If he can get to it, he will. He's just not that fast. That's just kind of how it is. But it feels like his jumps and reads have gotten better as the season's gone along again. I thought he was pretty good, the year before, but last year was a little bit of a down year as well. So. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just feeling healthier now. Sometimes those little nagging things that we don't really know about can impact things, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why wasn't he playing like this? In April and May, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a combination of things. It is a long season, and he was struggling a little bit with runners in scoring position in the was it the Yankee series or I don't know, it was the series beforehand? No, it was the series in Houston against Houston at home, where he was just kind of looked a little bit lost, but again, picking up where he left off before.
Yeah, his high leverage numbers have always been pretty solid in his career, so I don't really think it's a thing. People do get caught up in talking about clutch just because they remember the last 2 times the guy, left the bases loaded or whatever. But I mean, I don't really think there's a long-term problem, but he was definitely getting on people's irritation list a little bit because there was a lengthy stretch where it seemed like he wasn't coming through, and then he starts getting lumped in with Torkelson because Torkelson probably actually does have a little bit of a problem hitting with the bases juice, or at least in those big spots sometimes. So yeah, just good for him to kind of break out of it. I mean, Riley Green is there aren't that many players that can just take over a game and win it for you, and he can do it. And I was kind of thinking they should have been pushing for the extension maybe off season, but we're all kind of also like, is there something that the Tigers fear in Riley Green's medicals? Like what is the issue? There's been a lot of just sort of discussion with no actual information to go on about those topics. But yeah, for whatever reason, they don't seem to have even approached him and about an extension. So it's going to come up pretty soon. Like they kind of either need to decide that maybe they're going to trade him or start thinking about that next offseason once the new CBA is done, maybe.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, brings up a good point about what you were just saying about him as far as like his right health with his loss of speed. It would be health because I also think about it as I call it the Brian Buxton effect because Buxton's out with injuries in Buxton's game. While Buxton's much more speedier outside fielder, don't get me wrong, but Buxton has been beat up. I mean, like in terms of like taking his abuse to his body, what have you. It could be the same kind of scenario where they're just like, oh boy, like this guy has got a lot of muscle mass to him, and they're worried about that. That I think is probably the biggest reason to me. It just seems like, it is. In OBK also brings up a good point too. They seem like they've come a long way from trying to protect his health a couple of years ago. Now they're playing him every damn day. Well, they need to.
Yeah.
They absolutely need to, and so it's interesting where we saw this against in this series, specifically against Texas. Texas is a team that the Tigers are chasing in the wild card. They don't look that good on paper, but they have some power in the lineup, and they're starting rotations a little bit. It's been banged up quite a bit, like the Tigers, very similar. And so that was when I looked at those two teams, I didn't realize they mirrored each other so much this weekend.
Yeah, they do seem like both overpowered in their own ways, but also with some fatal flaws that have held them back all year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a giant morass of iffy teams in the middle, and I do believe the Tigers, talent-wise, are one of the best of those teams. They just they're just stuck at the bottom because the worst month we'll ever see. Hopefully, this is a great. They got a chance to. The Athletics are right above them, I think, in the standings, or maybe right above Boston. So it's a team close to them. Houston was close to them too, and they couldn't get the job done there. It would be nice to not be 6 games or behind 6 teams in this wild card hunt. Like, last week I said I was done. I was ready to fold it in because it was just a 5-5 homestand, and then they go 5-1 on a road trip, but it's like they pulled me back in. Exactly. And they got 6 games at home. Go 5-1, 6-0, and see what happens. But I don't know. Maybe they can pull the opposite of last year and just get crazy hot right before the All-Star break.
So people are pointing out that Torque's numbers with runners in scoring position and such are actually not bad, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying perception because man, my reader's just furious at him at all times. I'm not saying it's a real thing. Torkelson is just Torkelson, but yeah.
Everybody wrong Young tonight. That's a nice Wang Chung reference. Yeah. Like that. But that was good.
We know, the issue with the Tigers is the bullpen, and they finally done something, substantive about this by putting Cater Montero down there. And I love Cater. I want him to be in the rotation, but I get it. Like I had to break down. They need somebody back there who's going to kind of be a dog at the end of the game and win those games. And so Cater will move back into the rotation once they decide whether they're buying, selling, holding, whatever they're going to do. But for right now, they absolutely need him down there, and they need Drew Anderson to stop just hanging that one miserable pitch like every outing. Like he can strike out 3 dudes, and then all of a sudden here comes that flat 91 mile per hour changeup that doesn't bite like the screwball like it usually does, and then it's just a batting practice pitch and gets killed. And Kenley's kind of had the same issue. So yeah, hopefully Cater can kind of stabilize things down there because that's what they need. Obviously we'd like another bat or two, and there's other things you could point to defensively and whatever, but it's the bullpen, and yeah, they've got to do whatever they need to do to sort that out.
I'm with you. I've kind of come to terms with as far as him coming out of the bullpen, Montero. I did not want that to happen, but at the same time,
yeah,
it was a reality that needed to happen. When you look at it seems like also every time Drew Anderson hangs that curveball too, like that curveball has no business throwing in the first place.
Sometimes he just needs to trust his fastball more. I mean, he hit 99 the other day. I mean, it's not like a crazy lively fastball, but he's got plenty. And yeah, it seems like they sometimes maybe just get too cute. Let's try to spin something. Let's try to do something fancy when they should just blast heater, above the zone once and see if they can get a chase. So yeah, I don't know.
As far as that, here's an interesting. So Baseball Savant has their kind of swing timing plus missed distance leaderboard for pitchers. So I don't know if you guys I don't really pay attention to that very often, or I haven't really looked at it too much. I started looking at it when it came to the Tigers a little bit, and as far as like who, maybe just for the sake of the bullpen, and as far as like, it was interesting to see when, for example, Framber Valdez's flawed swing, perfect contact on his sinker is 36%. So, but he has a whiff rate. He has a whiff rate of only 11.6% on that. But yeah, I don't know. I was looking for some Drew Anderson stuff to back that up, and it's four seamer. You're talking about that. You're absolutely correct. Flawed swing is 5%. Perfect contact is 21%, and he's got a whiff rate of 21% on that pitch.
Yeah, and I think the ISO against is like 110. So they're not hitting it for power. So yeah, maybe just lean into that a little bit more. Doesn't it seem? I haven't even done up all the numbers to find out, but it really feels like the past 2 weeks the Tigers started leaning into fastballs. Like all these teams, we're sitting soft against them, and it seemed like Cater in particular and a couple other guys just started airing out the heater. Mize too, just coming after them, and they weren't ready for it. Maybe that'll just be something that they adjust back to in the coming weeks, once the most recent data becomes uploaded and everybody game plans off that. But it really seemed like there was a pivot to just, attacking guys a lot more with fastball the last couple of weeks, and it's been working.
Yeah, it was, what was funny? It was the same scenario when I went out to Akron on Friday to go watch Andrew Sears pitch, attacking the fastball. Like I was going through his pitching chart. I was talking about this with Chris. You can find the YouTube. We did a breakdown of Andrew Sears on Friday. I was out there. It was miserable. It was the most miserable game I've been to in a long time. Where it was just the sun. Like I sat in third base line because the behind the home plate was pretty packed. Holiday weekends. I sat by the third base line where there's nobody at, but there was the sun. So the sun's like right there. It's like and I had to wear my sunglasses. So it was so bad. But Sears was just pounding zone fastball. Apparently, the United States have scored. No, Belgium scored. So
Belgium scored.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Sarah's a big Belgium fan. Oh,
apparently,
that'll do it.
Yeah,
it's the waffles.
Apparently, Sarah's
that'll do it.
Yeah,
no, 3-1. Not coming back. She
doesn't like Christian Pulisic or whatever.
Yeah.
Or no, she's just like saying goal. That's what she likes to. She's watching Spanish announcement.
Everybody does like that. Yeah. I like that too.
Yeah,
that happens on the golf course even.
Yes, I forgot she does have family in Belgium. She has
no family in the United States, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently. Wow.
Yeah. Front runner. Picking the team that is clearly much better than the United States.
Treason does never prosper.
Anyway, this is a baseball podcast. Just baseball, not just baseball and a little bit of soccer.
That's probably why people are coming here tonight. By the way,
that Andrew Sears breakdown is really worth people going and checking out, because especially he's going to be one of your guys next year, who's pushing up and gets in the mix. If not by the end of the year, you just never know what'll happen. But he's just a fun guy to watch pitch, and I mean, if he can keep, he's got the slider, he's got a pretty good fastball, and if he can keep developing the secondaries a little bit more, you just never know what might happen. But he's such a fun pitcher to watch because he just goes after everybody like a madman. Love a hothead a little bit. As a pitcher.
Yeah, he's very, very go ahead, Chris.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an interesting hothead because he's not like, it's not like that guy where you're like, oh, he's going to throw at somebody. Like when he gets upset, he throws it. He's like, I'm going to execute a perfect pitch and throw it right by you, which is good.
And I'm going to work faster.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, especially because if he can establish that third pitch better, I think it's going to really be the difference maker. But the fact that he got velocity, he went back and got more velocity towards the end of the game too. That was, to me, it was just a good example of him being composed and controlled the whole time. Again, the double A strike zone. I want to do it once. The double A strike zone. I want to get a shirt for that because Joe's been towards it.
Or the high A strike zone a little bit last week.
Oh yeah. Oh, high A zone's pretty bad too. But go ahead.
Well, somebody did ask when's the last time that Erie had won a 6-game sweep. And I was
shout out to Adam on that question. Yeah,
it was last August at New Hampshire, so hadn't been long, but that was probably full of Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark doing lots of fun things, and Briseño.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like what Colin said here. Yeah, Sears has that Max Scherzer manic mentality.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe intensity is a better word than hot hit. Yeah, I could have picked my words better.
If your nickname is Psycho Sears, I think that says it
Psycho
all.
killer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just want him to crush through like a old Sears sign, just like bury through it or something like that. But no, and the biggest takeaway from the weekend too was that Kevin McGonigal being Kevin McGonigal, and the All-Star, like I said this last week at the live broadcast with the guys from over at Woodward, that I didn't think Kevin McGonigal was going to make it in the All-Star game, only because how rare is it that the last Tiger to do it was Mark Rivers in '76 in their rookie season, and plus it just seems like they don't want to do, like, I'm not saying they don't want to do that, but then you look at the numbers and you're just like, well, shit. If they ignored it, that would be pretty upsetting. But you know, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I mean, I know that people in the NL are upset that, or at least the Cardinals fans are upset that JJ Weatherholt did not make the All-Star team. He has, by FWAR, he's actually been better than McGonigal. But yeah, like I wonder if there was a little bit of that, like they knew it was in Philadelphia. He's a Delco kid drinking his water at games when he was young.
The water,
so it's awesome, right? And I think by BWAR he's at like 4.4.
Yeah,
which is it's already like the third highest ever for a Tigers rookie hitter. I was just about to go look at that, and it's been a while since I've looked at it, so I was going to check it again. But
little 8 WAR season coming.
Yeah, just a remarkable season, and it's like it's getting boring at this point. Not boring, like I love to see it. He's on my fantasy team. He's great fun. We watch him a lot, but it's like, all right, so he got a hit and a walk, or 2 hits and a walk, or 2 walks. He's just on base constantly, and that's a great foundation for the offense.
Yeah, it also it speaks to like who he is and what he's like in the clubhouse, that it felt like the team was ready to kind of like hand over some of the leadership reins to him almost from the beginning of the season. Right. Like everybody like learned pretty quickly, like this dude is one of the most professional hitters I've ever seen. We're gonna ride him. Obviously, Riley has his part and Scooble has his part in that, but Kevin's kind of the man, and everyone seems to acknowledge it. And then Dylan Dingler became even more the man than he'd ever been before. I didn't think that was possible, such a manly specimen. But the two of them have been incredible, and Riley's kind of like the slugger, who's in the lineup and just like hits fourth. And, he's like the prince of this group now or something. But yeah, it's such a strong trio. And, if they could, I mean, you just don't know what this team is capable of if they could just get like a couple of the weaknesses shored up, because they've just undercut themselves so bad all season long. But very cool for Kevin to get in there, and it probably feels good to be, on the players ballot. The fan ballot has kind of become ever more nonsensical over the last few years, but to get it on the players ballot shows, quite a bit of respect. And I still think, the way things work out and, usage and injuries and stuff, it's not impossible that maybe Casey Mize might get the call at the last second, to like pitch an inning or something like that. We'll see. Maybe one of them will sneak in there, but I think we'd all just as well like leave those guys and let them rest and get them ready for the second half. Last year, going into the All-Star break was like the nadir of the season. Like it just turned everything around, and they went to heck immediately after. So maybe the run up to the All-Star break this year will kind of prove the reverse. That would be a very welcome surprise if they could like definitively answer the question of what they're supposed to do at the end of this month. It's probably going to be hard to do that one way or the other. They're still going to be in some kind of a gray area, I would assume, even if things go well. But, someone asked earlier, like, do we think they're going to trade Scooble and Mize Wolf? It's really hard to say. I've written like the first half of like 10 different articles, like definite, like, no, it's time. They've got to do this or that. And they just kind of keep reining you in, and you just kind of want to keep giving it a little more leash and see what they can do. But, they're obviously going to have to finish the first half strong here and come out and look pretty good, after the All-Star break. And then maybe you can start thinking a little bit differently. But right now, I still kind of feel like they probably should trade both of them, to be honest. I know that's harsh. That's harsh medicine for the fan base. And I could be wrong, because they could go nuts. We saw them like play unfathomably bad for 2 months last year. Could that switch? Sure, because baseball is madness and no one can predict it. So it's okay to kind of like let it play out a little bit longer, and we'll see what happens.
I have a message for Scott Harris specifically, because he hasn't been out in a while. I haven't seen him or anything, and from my understanding, he hasn't been around. I have a message for Scott Harris, and it's a good message. Okay, look, I don't know where you're lurking at right now. You might be watching right now. I don't know. But I'm going to look right in the camera right now and say this, okay? You've had 3 homegrown talents get to the All-Star game, okay? One of them you drafted, okay? It's okay to do a victory lap right now. I understand his fan base doesn't like you right now because this fan base thinks you're a snotty a-hole or whatever the case is. I don't know, because sometimes I don't understand his fan base and I don't try to argue with him anymore because, quite frankly, it's a fruitless exercise. I just do what I can, and I want fans and I want everybody to be – my goal, whenever I write something, is for somebody to learn something and to share an opinion, whether I like it or not. We're all here to agree to disagree. That's it. But look, Harris, you made history, okay? First rookie since 1976. And ironically enough, Mark Fidrich, guess where the All-Star game was in 76? Philadelphia. So right there is historical. The first time that you had positional players, not just pitchers, positional players for the first time, more than 2, rather, 3, since 1985. Take a effing bow, dude. Go out there. Look, I know it might be hard for you right now, and I know whatever woodsy, background of what it looks like, wood paneling, wherever you're at right now. But take a bow, dude. Take a bow. It's okay. It's okay. Look, this team is underachieving. But you have a run differential of 11. The bullpen's been awful. Yes, you certainly deserve whatever happens to the bullpen. And there's a couple, and Wasuko is now in Minnesota, and Matt Sillinger's in the Mets and all that stuff. But look, that's another thing you should celebrate. Teams want your talent. Okay, Jim Jarvis is up there. That was the guy, Jarvis. Jarvis has been in Atlanta now. The Tigers, as much as people want to give the Harris crap, some of it's deserved, some of it's not. The Tigers have something. They have a special player in Kevin McGonigal. The guy takes golf shot. Like, he can literally, watching him swing sometimes, just take that one little left, little pop up right over to left center. He's doing things that I used to annoy the crap out of me that Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan would do. We have a player like that. The Tigers have a player like that. Celebrate. Go out there. I know you don't eat meat, but go out there, maybe have a steak or something. Do something different.
He doesn't eat meat. Do we know that? Is that confirmed?
I'm not confirmed. I've heard that he's a vegetarian.
Man, all that nice stuff he said, and I think you just undercut him with 90%.
Sorry, Scott. Yeah, I know. Look, if you're Scott Harris, you need to stay hidden right now. Always a Tiger. Now, always a Tiger. Look, the bottom line is, why should he stay hidden for this? Go out, take a celebration. Go, look, my bad. Which is till I thought what I said, which is connection I should cut.
What?
Mark said. He said, I thought about what I said, which is connection I should cut. Look, bottom line is this. Harris is better than, as Tony said here. Tony's better than Randy Smith was. Look,
what?
Randy Smith, I want to do a whole, I'm going to do a whole historical piece on Randy Smith. I'm going to do a video thing. That wasn't his fault. He deserves a lot of the blame, but we'll get to that another day. Another day. Listen, I'm going to just finish this up.
Okay, but let me just quickly acknowledge the Mark Davis, Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel reference, because yes.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I got sick of hearing that song because I used to play it all the time, and Peter Gabriel has a much deeper collection than
he
that.
does. It's super deep.
It's super deep.
Very deep. Scary. Scary deep.
That song, for whatever reason, got a lot of radio play in CSX in town. I
got you, Mark.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Sorry about that. That was a Peter Gabriel reference I did not get. And I like, I don't like, I like other songs other than Sledgehammer. So, a song he did with Kate Bush is pretty cool too. Anyway, so, what I'm trying to say is essentially, if you're Harris, take a beating for a minute. The press, and also the press is not trying to protect you. Another thing that the narrative out there that I don't understand. Colin's I'm not sure there's defending drafting relief pitcher first overall. I did an article about why he did, because he really didn't have a choice. But again, let's start from the
that had to do with agents and bridges and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of play there. Anyway, point is, Scott Harris, take a bow. It's okay. Take a bow. Jeff Rieger's not gonna eat you alive. I'm sure that, look, Evan Petzold retired now. He's doing weird, he's working for the Henry Ford health system now. It's okay. It's okay. come out, take a bow for what just happened.
All right, I'm gonna say he already kind of did when they signed him. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna call it good with that. Because that's
like,
when he signed that deal. Scott Harris rightly came out and was like, this is the first draft, and we crushed it, and we're so happy with Kevin and how well he's turned out, and he kind of did all that. I kind of want to hear like, all right, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do right now to like sort this out and give this team the best chance over the next 25 or probably less games that it is to get it together? But I do like it. I mean, Scott Harris definitely deserves credit for that pick, and he should take it because I'm going to continue to nag him about literally every other small detail. And that's a huge win. That's a huge win to get McGonigal. So, yep.
Yeah, no.
So,
go ahead, Chris.
Well, I just, you can't take a bow right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
If you're Mark Connor, you can take a bow, right? Like it's your job to scout and draft players. And they had the third pick that draft. They've got the third best big leaguer so far out of that draft by WAR, behind Paul Skeens and Wyatt Langford. Now Paul Skeens' arm is slowly falling off apparently, and Wyatt Langford keeps getting hurt. So, McGonigal's 2 years behind those guys. He'll catch up to him and overtake him. They may have drafted the best player in the draft. He sure looks like that. So
do we think Kevin is even close to peak right here?
No,
I still think there's going to be like plenty of 25 home run seasons coming. And it might not be like immediate, but he's going to get to that.
And he may, he's playing a pretty solid shortstop. And I'm imagining that as the years go on and he starts tapping more power, that's the defensive side of things is going to go away. So he may not, like in terms of the WAR,
he may end up second base.
Being his, but he will have seasons where he's like in MVP conversations. I think as long as he stays healthy. And they really did do a great job in that draft, at least in terms of the bats. We thought for a little bit that Jaden Ham might have been somebody. He was their 5th round pick. Now he's just kind of fallen into the Springfield mystery spot. But we talked about Sears. He was their 10th rounder. He's going to be a big leaguer.
Paul
John
Wilson's
Peck was
back.
their 7th rounder. Paul Wilson's back. He looks like he's got a good arm. You can see it now. It's just strikes, more strikes. But John Peck, Brett Callahan, Jim Jarvis. We talked about Max Anderson's going to get to the big leagues. I don't know how long he's going to stay or what he's going to do, but they got like 7 big league bats out of that draft. It's pretty remarkable. But yeah, you got to do more as a president. You can take a bow for that, but you don't win awards for having great drafts.
It's true.
You look back at it and say like, oh, that draft really was the foundation for us going on and winning stuff. But fans don't care. Like the average fan, who's not us, doesn't care. Like they just want to see the team win. They don't care how. Nobody cared that Dombrowski didn't draft or sign Miguel Ordonez as an international free agent or sign Miguel Cabrera, although he did, I guess, in a different city. But just win.
Just win. There's a lot more scrutiny now, so people are more interested in the draft. But like this point in time in the season where the Tigers are at, it's just like win. And that's all I feel like too. Like, get after it. Like, to figure this thing out in the bullpen, try to make a run, and then do some smart trading and get us stocked up with some pitching for next year. One way or the other. Yeah. Even if you trade one of them, if you trade both, if you trade Jack and Casey and keep whatever you're going to do. Look, you're going to need to stock
a couple outfielders too. And stocks up pile some pitching, but also a couple outfielders would be nice.
A right-handed one. Because I'm loving my Brett Callahan, and I think that's going to kind of work out a little bit. But you're right. I mean, there needs to be a right-handed bat added to the outfield that's legit, in all respects. Ben Belger, he's done a decent job so far, but I don't think it's him. So. Yeah, no, and look, Tigers and Lions forever. He says Tigers being only 5 games out of the wild card, wouldn't give up this season. No, I don't think we're giving up. You have to look according to Jeff Passan, which he said 85%. That Tarek Sewell is going to trade, which means what the hell is the other 15%? Like, is that just some if
they go 6-0 on this road trip or this home stand, like there's. I remember a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, praising the Marlins for they were playing well at the deadline. They had guys they could trade, but they didn't. They just kind of were like, let's just play baseball. Let's have now. The Tigers have like arguably 2 of the top tradable assets on the market. I mean, probably 3 of the top or 4 of the top 20. Like there's a real missed opportunity here if they don't trade. But at the same time, like it wouldn't be the end of the world to me if they stuck with it and went for it and made it run at it. Like if they kept playing like they've played since the start of June, That's fine. Like, maybe they make it, maybe they don't. But, at some point, you got to go try to win games. You can't just constantly be churning and trying to rebuild. But at the same time, if they go 1-5 on this homestand, or 0-6 or something awful, 2-4, even 3-3, like at a certain point, you've got to cash in. So it's just a matter if they can put together continued winning baseball.
Yeah, I mean, at a minimum, you do probably get 2 comp picks, but I don't even want to think about that, because I know I brought it all up last week and was just talking about how much uncertainty there is. Like, those comp picks should still be there, and the qualifying offer is going to be there to be used until the CBA expires at the beginning of December. But what if next season all gets washed out? I don't want to hear about any of that. Like, trade for some good prospects if that's what you're going to do. But yeah, right now it's just a fact of having to keep 2 tracks on in our brain. Like, how are they going to win? And what are they going to do as far as the future? And unfortunately, they're not together yet. They're still kind of on parallel tracks, and we don't really know how it's going to turn out. But I mean, if they happen to get waxed and lose 5 of the next 6, I'm selling immediately. So we have to keep in mind that we are on a real fine line here, even though the Tigers have played better, and we all know the Tigers are a better team than their record for sure. We also saw that with Skubal and Mize out, their starting rotation wasn't the problem either.
Yeah.
So, you have to keep that in mind. They might be able to get in anyway. It's just that you can't pass up that much trade value if you can get 2 really, really good prospects for Skubal, just to have him in the postseason when maybe it matters more than it normally would, because you have an ace that you can send out there to win you a game every couple days, twice per series. If they want to trade Jack and Casey and keep Tarek for that reason, and they can get something good for Casey, all right, well, that's a strategy too. But it's just going to be, it's going to be complicated, and it's going to be very telling on the rest of Scott Harris's tenure, how he's able to handle this. I think we can all at least agree on that much. The way the rest of the season plays out is going to be crucial for how he looks and how the team is set up for years to come.
Yeah. By the way, Adam wanted to know why did we trade 2 pitchers for cash? Well, both Woo-Sock Go and Matt Sillinger had ability or upward clauses.
Mobility clauses.
Thank you.
I think.
Yeah.
There's most of these. You see this a lot with minor league free agents. Is they have a clause in their contract that says, you have to either get me to the majors by this date or release me. And so the Tigers,
or at least add me to the 40-man, so that
Yeah.
they get paid like a major leaguer almost. Yeah.
Tigers did neither, but they traded them to teams who were willing to do that. So it's Woo-Sock Go had a really rough start this season. Went down to Erie, got it figured out, came back up to Toledo. Has been one of their better relief arms. Matt Sillinger has been up and down a number of times. He'll have these games where he's getting absolutely bombed, and other games where he's lights out. Yeah. Obviously, these he's from New York, I think, so the Mets grabbed him, and I think Evan Woodbury had a really nice, really good tweet about that. It was people were like, "Hey, we need all the bullpen arms we can get." And he was like, since the start of June, I think it's something like the Tigers have the 6th best bullpen ERA, whereas the Twins are 30th. So
somebody tried to call him out, and then he goes, "ERA is not the only thing." And then Evan pointed out the xERA and all the other stuff don't really.
Yeah, he went through 10 other stats.
Sorry, Motown Marco, you got schooled there, man.
It's very much. I don't know. I follow a fair amount of NBA people on Twitter for whatever reason. I don't remember why. I care about the NBA, but not that much. And there's this whole big analytics versus eye test stuff going on in there, and it felt very familiar to me. And it's all about Jaylen Brown, the guy that the Celtics, is a sort of shooting guard, small forward, wing, and how the analytics have him as the 7th best player on the Celtics. And everybody's like, "Are you insane? This is one of the top 20 players." And it's just this whole big back and forth. They're like, "Well, but this is what happens when he's off the court." And it's wow, this feels like Eric Hosmer 15 years ago.
Yeah. How valuable is Eric Hosmer's defense really?
Yeah. Why was Jim Leland playing Eric Hosmer for Team USA over Paul Goldschmidt?
Yeah. Deadly Ninja Bees. I kind of feel the same way. I'm not going to predict it because I don't know what the heck they're going to do. But I just have the feeling, as usual, that Scott Harris has never made a decision that he wants to make until he absolutely has to. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully he's getting good advice, and they're they're ready to trade, whether they do or not. Obviously they should already be well deep into their research on all the teams that might be buyers, and have it all dialed. So there's nothing to do but let it happen. We don't have any control, so here we are.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing: like, they have scouts everywhere. We know they have scouts everywhere. They've been signing more indie league guys again because they're just trying to fill the ranks as much as possible. And ultimately, it really is, as far as like their chances are, percentages, I really don't know. I think the media has a guess. I mean, Passon's really connected. I get it. But the Tigers are like just ninjas when it comes to keeping things in the fold. Like, for example, we still don't know what's wrong with Jaden Ham. We know he was losing velocity.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all we know. As far as like injuries go and everything like that, even like, will everybody see Michael Massey again? I don't know. There's a lot of things that the Tigers do in secrecy. And so whoever they have interest in, for example, I know this is a long shot, but if you're Baltimore is quote unquote competing, if you're competing with, like, Baltimore's trying to compete, what have you, raid their farm system, raid a system that you can get a right-handed bat out of that is major league ready. That is the one thing I require. Look, if there's one thing that Tiger fans should ask for in requirement, bare minimum, is a guy that can come up and play tomorrow. That is it. That there's no guy in low A or the lottery ticket kind of crap. Somebody that can.
You should get the lottery tickets as a kicker, but yeah,
yes.
the main piece has to be something like that.
Yeah,
and there's the Brewers, there's the Rays. If we get beyond like thinking of just like the Dodgers because of the money,
right?
There's a lot of interesting farm systems to trade with. Everybody's terrified to trade with the Rays, but the Rays have so many good prospects generally that they can afford to let a few go. So you can't be scared. You have to go in there and get the right guy if that's who you're dealing with.
And I think one thing, and I don't know, I agree with you, and I think they would target people that can come in and play because they've got a nice core still, even with losing some of these arms. But I also think that sometimes you do have to treat it like the draft, right? And you're just taking the best players who are made available to you. And we've seen teams like the Dodgers will make trades and acquire prospects that they really liked into the draft, but couldn't draft. They just didn't get a chance to get it. So they went out and got Mike Sirota like immediately, and he's a top 100 prospect. And they went out and was Zaire Hope. They did the same thing with him, and Jackson Ferris. Like they target these guys. So I'm sure there are guys out there who are performing in the lower minors that the Tigers like, who they wanted to draft and they couldn't. Go get those guys too if you really believe in your scouting. But yeah, it would help to have a right-handed hitting shortstop come up. Those aren't really in long supply, but you get the best deal you can.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to keep that in mind. I would agree though that I at least want like upper level guys. I want guys who might be circling the show next year and are in the mix with Peck and Callahan, and obviously Clark will probably be there, and Briseño. Yeah, I mean, you'd like to at least have that stockpile. I don't really want to trade for a bunch of Chris Rodriguez guys.
Well, I just, well, yeah, no, I mean, it's within reason, right? So
yeah,
at this time last year, Kevin McGonigal was in high A.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a Kevin McGonigal out there that you can go get in high A, this is guys, he could be in the big leagues next year. You do it. But it doesn't necessarily mean you got to go get a guy in AAA. Is all I'm saying. If you've scouted these guys and you believe in them, but again, Kevin McGonigals don't grow on trees. He's got 4.5 WAR. I saw, which is already the fourth highest ever for a Tigers rookie bat. Behind Austin Jackson, Dale Alexander, and Donnie Bush, who had 54 sacrifice or 52 sacrifice bunts in 1909.
And I would suggest too about the outfielder thing too. Like if you can get a right-handed hitting outfielder who is just an average hitter but is a good defender, I would love that.
Yeah,
like,
same here.
The Tigers don't need like another pack of studs like down the rest of the lineup. Like you'd like that. You'd love to have a super stacked lineup. But if the last four guys in the lineup were just roughly average players when used in their proper platoon setting, we'd be killing it. So yeah. We can keep that in mind too. Like, they're probably not going to come away from this with an obvious superstar for Tarek Skubal. Like that's not very reasonable to ask for. But you hope you get the right guy that you can turn into that while getting like concrete help, pretty soon. And as far as like passing and what those guys know and don't know, they're going to write about this, one way or the other, because they've been writing about it nonstop since, last offseason. It's just a massive click generator. And so I don't really think necessarily that any of them has the faintest clue what Scott Harris is thinking or what he's going to do. It's just an easy button for beat writers who are busy and have to generate a certain amount of traffic. And it's like, yeah, you just keep going back to the Tarek Skubal well, and obviously it's a big story now, but I mean, they've been writing about it left and right, for, for almost a year now. Like, now is the time. Like, okay, now you can have your fun, speculate as much as you want to.
I did see Heyman, talking about, okay, the Mets are done. Now it's time for them to sell everybody. Not named this. Like, well, who do they have that people want?
Yeah. Give me Frankie Lindor.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Jake mentioned Carson Williams, but I mean, he's been striking out a 30% clip. I mean, if they can't, I don't see them trying to fix him. I don't know if they can fix him.
No, I don't think there's fixing him, unfortunately. Like, he's an elite defender, and he could be one of those guys who eventually figures things out to a certain degree later in his career. But, he's always had tons of swing and miss in his game, going back to the showcase circuit. Like, it's just a part of who he is. I don't know. I don't know if there's fixing guys like that. I can't think of somebody who went from, like, a huge strikeout guy to a guy who doesn't strike out so much. You could fix it to a degree. The Twins got Willie Castro to walk a little more and not strike out quite as much, but it's still, like you said, 30%. That's tough to. He's more like 35%, isn't he?
Yeah, 35%. Yeah. So yeah, he's 35%. He's up there. What's interesting is, speaking of, you're talking about Tiger X Twins, Cody Clemens. Somebody was talking about Cody Clemens. Like, oh, why did we drop him? Guys, he was part of a trade to Philadelphia. He didn't do anything here for 3 years.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Sometimes it takes you a while to find your place. But I'm so sick of that damn narrative. Like, former Tiger doing well somewhere else. Yeah, two teams ago.
Right. Liam Hicks is a little bit different situation, but yeah, like, am I losing sleep over Ryan Kreidler and Cody Clemens? No. Like, they had tons of time to, like, try to figure something out. They're both in their late 20s. Maybe they'll have a good year or two. Fine, good for them. I'm happy. They're not stars. They're not killing us. So yeah, you can't keep everybody.
Yeah,
you could take it as a good sign that we're leaking, some usable talent, at least, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, go find all the people who were begging for Kreidler to stay. Like, we always liked Kreidler and we wanted it to work out. It just didn't, and you got to let go sometimes. And he's going and he's doing the reverse Nico Goodrum.
Yeah, if they let Ryan Kreidler go when I wanted them to let him go, then we'd have Liam Hicks at first base part-time.
There you go.
Yeah. But that could have not worked out either, because nobody really was sure that was coming. You just thought, like, yeah, pretty good hitting catcher who probably isn't good enough to catch for the Tigers, and that's probably exactly what he is. But yeah.
So going to Toledo this week, splitting with Iowa. They're on the road this week against Indianapolis. Beck Callahan, game-winning hit, almost hit for the cycle the other day, but just continues to make a very good impression all over the system. And he is also a candidate for Rule 5, so he's definitely pushing there. Max Anderson just being consistent. Pitching-wise, it's not really much to say about Toledo right now at all. I mean, the Jesus is just adjusting. But other than that, there wasn't anything that really stood out to me in Toledo this week.
Madden pitched really well for the Tigers, and since he's gone back down, it feels like maybe he's just lost a little bit of the mojo. It might just be a hard readjustment after he, probably felt like he was breaking through. But I would just say, wherever you are, Ty Madden, there's going to be a need for you. Don't worry, you're going to get another chance this year.
Yeah, the couple things I put in here. Valencia has just been a steady power hitter since mid-April. He had the terrible first 2 weeks, and it's like a 130 WRC plus since then. Hasn't really gone crazy hot like he did at times last year. He's been very productive, so you could see him coming up at some point if it works out. And what I put there with Callahan, in case people are wondering, Callahan's one of two players in minor league baseball with 13 homers, 25 steals, and a walk rate per strikeout rate, walk strikeout ratio of at least 0.5. So he's got half as many walks as strikeouts. The only other one who's on that list is Josue DePaula, who's a top 10 prospect in baseball. He's also 3 years younger and in Double-A and has like a 1.5 walk to strikeout rate and hitting like 321. So he's very good. But Callahan is doing big numbers in the minors this year, and it's worth pointing out. We do it like every week, but it's until people, I don't know. Once he gets to the big leagues, people will say, okay, this works. And the other note I had down there was Tyler Madison, who I looked at it, and he's had 2 absolutely horrific outings this year. One where he gave up 5 runs, one where he gave up 6 runs, in a total of 1 inning. In the rest of his outings, it's 6 earned runs in 32 innings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just he's still walking too many guys, but the strikeouts are there. Nobody's really getting hits against him for the most part. It's just, yeah, I don't know. He's another one that's just going to keep tantalizing you, and then it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, it does feel like he would get a look at some point. Like, what's funny is that if somebody else, some other team cut Tyler Madison, we would pick him up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But because they have him, he's just kind of in the stash pile, and can't quite break through. I would love to give him, to see him and give him a shot, but see if Fetter can just do a little bit more with him. But let's see, he's just hanging out there on the cusp, blocked by Jacob Wagsback.
By his spec. Yeah.
Who by himself has not been too bad either.
No, has not been. No, it's been better than I anticipated. Seawolves report, by the way, I might have a chance to talk to Tony Capicelli tomorrow. Emily Walden is going to be talking to Peyton Graham, who had a really good week, but somehow got hosed for not being the player of the week.
But went to Alfonso Rosario, who was on Akron and went 0-6. Akron lost all 6 games. Erie won all 6, but he did have a great week. He had more home runs. Graham didn't hit any home runs. Rosario had a couple home runs, but and maybe if Graham had played, he came in as a defensive replacement on Sunday's game because Chris Myers hurt his back.
Yeah,
I almost put that video out because it was really gutsy. Like, he hurt his back on a swing, and it was very clear that the Akron announcer was like, "Oh, he's got to come out," and then he went and swung again. He's like, "Oh, he's hurt. He's got to come out," and then he got a hit. And he was feeling his back down at first base. He's like, "Oh, he's got to come out." And he never came out until after the inning, and then they put Graham out there. So, and Graham had got hit on the hand, I think. But it's good to see that he went back out there and he's fine. But
he had
or
something. Yeah,
he could have had 3 more or 4 more hits in that series if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Yeah, and it's always scary because Graham, kind of has that history of like getting hit and like something breaks, So yeah, it was good to see that he was right back out there. Too bad for Chris Myers though, not a prospect, but an interesting hitter. And has been on an absolute rampage, prior. So, had himself a hot couple weeks, and boom, he's out, which hurts Erie, hurts the offense because they do need their power hitters. They don't have a whole lot right now. Although Pennington's done a nice job since he's come up.
Yeah, he had a double to start things going, scoring on Friday, and he was. Again, the Seawolves with the steals, by the way, I was talking to Zach. They are on the pace to break the team record here by the end of the month, and with 183 steals, and it looks like, yep, Belgium scored again. Looks like, so it's 4-1 Belgium. But no, the Seawolves off to a really good start, 11-1, best team so far among the affiliates so far. As the other takeaway from the series start too, just the bullpen before the rain started was Sanchez was a little, the velocity was there, but just command was all the way off. Correct, same thing, just lack of consistency in his command and stuff is where I see a problem with him.
Corrett does have good stuff, but at least he's young though. He's still what, 23, 24. So he's not like, Yosber's been trying to do this for a while, like Marco Jimenez as well. So
speaking of which, he's back on the rehab trail, and so he could be in Erie. I'm not sure if he's going to end up in Erie. Jake Miller, I think Miller might be. Is Miller going to end up in Erie or Toledo? It's a good question.
That is a good question. Yeah.
He pitched well in West Michigan, so I don't know if I don't know. It just feels more like roster shuffling right now, more than like they're putting him. But you would think they would make a spot for him because he's on the 40 man. Yeah, and he's got to be rehab by now. Yeah,
fully. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here with that. Let's go to West Michigan against Lake County. They had the Lake County game on Friday in the stands with the rain out the way it was going. Bryce Rayner, Chris, talk about the Bryce Rayner stat that like you were talking about in the Discord, just the amount of strikeouts just back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he had, like, so far in July, it's like he's like 3 for 15 with like 10 strikeouts or something like that. It's like, and it's a mix of called strikes and swinging and missing. But, we know that's just going to be part of his game. I think Brandon made the nice, like, kind of Riley Green at shortstop comp a few episodes back. And we've seen Riley Green go through these stretches where it's just like, what's going on? Why can't you hit the ball? And then, but he's still crushing the ball when he hits it. It's still 112 mile an hour line drives to the left center somehow. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just like, as Roger, you were saying, like, people were calling for him to go up to Erie, and just settle down. It's okay. There'll be time.
Yeah, let him cook. Let him just work. I mean, and once again, this is like he's at like game 110 out of high school, so he's doing just fine. And giving him time to keep adapting to that level as much as possible is good. Maybe they'll move him up to Erie and challenge him at the end of the year, and try to give him that sort of slight punch in the face before you go into the off season. Like, okay, you got to step it up, to handle this next level, and you see what it's like up here. But mostly that's just about lefties to me, like just seeing more good left-handers when he gets up to Double-A, and that will certainly be a challenge for him. So yeah, we'll just see how it plays out. But he's doing fine, considering how he's doing now compared to the levels of panic in April. Like I hope everybody's kind of learned, like, prospects are kind of like this, like, when it all comes together, you oftentimes you won't have any question, but you won't see it coming either. Like they'll have the same issue for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, they deal with it, and boom. So you just never know.
Yeah, it's there's no rush for it. I really don't think there should be a rush.
Yeah, and Patrick Lee had one of those weeks where you're like, man, why is this kid an org guy? Why are they treating him like an org guy? Like there's the tools are just there. But
monstrous tools, yeah.
His we'll see. They've there must be something underlying that they just don't believe in. But also Lucas Elisalt had his best start with West Michigan, and he's been good. You see, I put it there. He's been good since the start of June, basically. 2.25 ERA over his last 24 innings pitched. He seems to be figuring some things out, which is great to see, because he's one of the more exciting pitching prospects headed into this year, and it's just been a bumpy road for him. But it's what you want to see. You want to see development like this.
Yep, he's looked good. Meanwhile, Jacobs is kind of going through his own like bumpy stretch where he's been a little wild in a few outings, and just hasn't really been able to spot the fastball and start everything off that a couple times. So that's just part of the process for the most part. The one who's just killing me though is Rainer Castillo, because man, it just seems like anytime an outing starts to go bad, it just spirals. Like he just cannot quite like lock it back down for any length of time. But it wasn't a major prospect in the first place. Just one who's young and interesting and has such easy gas that you figure the command will eventually show up and they can teach him some stuff. But get the slider going. But yeah, it's just been kind of a disappointment there so far.
Yeah, it was nice.
Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was just saying it was nice to see. Charlie Christensen came up and had a rough first outing, but he looked like his old self in this second outing, which was nice to see. Like he walked a bunch of guys in that first one. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is not Charlie.
Throwing strikes, getting strikeouts, missing. not giving up a ton of hard contact. So
I did watch some of the bad one, and his and the strike zone was terrible for that Chris. That
it
one
was not good. No, it was. Especially at the beginning, and then he started losing it, I think, when he was up to like 28, 29 pitches in the inning. I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. But again, this is what it's for. This is what the minor leagues is for. So.
Yeah. No, you just got to try things out and see what happens and go from there. And as far as Ricardo Hurtado goes too, same thing. Like I'm on Hurtado watch too. Like I think he's still, there's something there. It could be a late developing thing, but we'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I always feel good about the Tigers developing a catcher. Like it might take a few years, but if you have a guy who's stoked about playing catcher and has like just enough raw tools to do it and is hitting, keep him there, and maybe the whole package kind of comes together over the next few years.
And that's a guy who has really taken to plate discipline, which is kind of like we talked about. Not necessarily teaching that, but he's made a huge leap forward in terms of taking walks and not striking out as much. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
just looking at it real quick to see what the numbers are. Last year, it was an 8.4% walk rate and 26.7% strikeout rate. This year, 17.7% walk rate and
Wow.
23.6% strikeout rate. So it's still 20 plus strikeout rate, but down 3% while moving up a level. I don't know. It's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, you don't hear that very often anymore. Like, or not. It's not common that a guy just suddenly can walk like that.
Yeah.
Right. We were just talking about that earlier. Like, it's hard for I want to say bird to change their feathers, but
teaching old
And
dogs new tricks.
One of the things that's interesting so often in the minor leagues is you see like something that a guy needs to do, and you think to yourself, like, why doesn't he just like go to the most exaggerated degree with it? Because these games don't matter, but the games do matter to them, and that's always the trick. Because I've been kind of begging, like why isn't Max Clark just like running nonstop to get ready for the major leagues? Like, he should be trying to steal every base possible. You know, I don't care if he's getting thrown out, you know, for the mud hens. But you know, they're still trying to teach him to, you know, be judicious with, you know, where he runs and, you know, working on reading pitchers and all that kind of stuff. But I still kind of feel like a little bit like, run more, Max Clark. Just try it. This is the spot for you to just play with like total abandon, and everyone will be mad at you, like, oh, he got thrown out here and he did this and that, and then you come up to the major leagues and you just dial it back one notch, and you'll be good to go. But you have to play at the max extent of your abilities, you know, at some point to try and kind of get used to the feel of playing at that speed. And yeah, I would like to see Clark do that. So, you know, when someone like Hurtado is like, you know what, I'm just going to stop swinging at anything I don't like. That's a hard thing to make yourself do. So when you're not like, you know, naturally sort of oriented that way. So yeah, it's been pretty impressive.
by the way, was it the? I was gonna. Oh no, I lost my train of thought now. Oh man. I was gonna say something and I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Oh, the Tigers. It was about the steals. I think the Tigers they're emphasizing. Oh no, I remember what now. Maybe Clark does not want to happen with Bryce Rayner or Cole Keith diving back in the first base and jamming their shoulder.
Yeah. They have had a problem with that.
Yeah,
Colt Keith too, right?
Yeah, that's why I said Keith and Rayner. So maybe that's why he doesn't want to do it. And yeah, look, if Clark doesn't want to run because of that, hey, by all means. Jose Guzman will get to you in a second. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, maybe that is a little bit of an element to it. Is they don't really want him to get banged up. Maybe. Yeah.
So Chris found a really good stat here on Jordan Yost. Chris talked about the WRC plus of Jordan Yost, but what he's been able to do walk wise to strikeouts.
Yeah, it was just something we've talked about him a little bit, and it's just thinking about the draft coming up, right, and how he was viewed as kind of a reach. Like, this is like, oh, this is not a guy who's he wasn't a first round pick on any of the public boards, but you see very much what the Tigers liked about him, and it's there. It's the bat to ball is pretty good. The eye is excellent. He's he still needs to get stronger, and those walks are going to go down, and strikeouts are going to go up if he doesn't, because pitchers will just challenge him. But I was watching the other day. He had I think an 11 pitch at bat where he just got into swing mode, unfortunately, and like he fouled off like 7 straight pitches, and then swung at one that was like half foot above the zone, which he should have taken for a walk. But it was just a really impressive, like, just fouling off everything the pitcher gave to him. It's like, yeah, this is an advanced approach for a guy who is a legitimate shortstop, and he's got above average to plus speed. He's another guy who's not running a ton, but I can see him doing that more as he gets more comfortable. He's like 8 for 8 on steal attempts, so he's getting them when he goes. He's not going very often, and it's just it's an impressive thing to see a young kid with that idea of the strike zone. And so I was looking how many more do, and it's not many. There's
not many.
2 of them are like kind of monster young prospects, one of which is in the complex league. So I don't know if you want to count that or not. So yeah, it just I want to point out one of the good things that are happening with some of last year's draft picks.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of going the way we hoped it would for Yost. I don't remember like how big a fan of the pick you guys were, but I don't know. I never felt bad about it at all. It seemed like exactly their dude, and everybody underestimated what McGonagall's power potential was going to be like. And I definitely think the same story could prove true here. They've had pretty good success developing bat speed. Like, that's one of the things that the Tigers do seem to be able to do reasonably well. While we could point out some areas where their development has kind of lagged. But yeah, I mean, I kind of am willing to bet on that. Like, I kind of bet on that with Peyton Graham, and he's still skinny as rail, and even though he's added some muscle, so you never know how these things are going to fully play out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with Yost's progress, and yeah, I think he's probably going to end up being a 10 to 15 home run guy who plays good shortstop and controls the bat and the strike zone pretty well. So, and that'll be fine. Probably not a superstar.
He is taller than McGonigal, and he's a different body than Graham and Hayden. I would say it's like very broad shoulders for a kid that skinny, and you could see him packing on 15, 20 pounds of muscle one day. He's 19 and a half. Yeah. 3.5 years from now, he'll be 23. And he'll probably be a lot stronger, and he could be a very interesting prospect. So, yeah, like you said, I think it's tracking perfectly right now for what they took, and yeah, we'll see what happens. You just got to keep doing it, but it's pretty strong pro debut.
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect when they drafted him last year. I remember the first reaction we had was the lack of tape that was out there on him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it was kind of, a shock because like most of the national writers were immediately like, oh, that's not who we would have thought up, would be up there, and that's just their natural reaction, and nothing wrong with that, but obviously they're not necessarily going to be right, or they'd be working for teams. So, that's not a shot, it's just, we kind of know it's a hard business to be right in from inside with all the data possible and all that, let alone from outside. So I have to say too, Michael Oliveto looks really damn good to me too. Like that's a good looking young hitter to me. I don't know if he's going to catch or not, but
Well, so I'm just uploading now a start from today. I don't know how long it'll take to get up there from Carlos Rodriguez, but it's Carlos Rodriguez starting in the FCL with Oliveto catching, and so you can get a look at how he as a receiver. They didn't get many guys on base, and they didn't try his arm. I think he gave up like 9 steals in a game the other day, but in the FCL, everything is like, who knows if the pitchers were even paying attention. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he hasn't quite found his swing yet, but it's, he didn't play it all last year. He missed the first 3 months of the season, basically, so he's still trying to get his swing, and we saw that with some of the other guys in their first couple of weeks in the FCL, like De Los Santos and stuff. It took him a little bit to get on track, but so,
and just to wrap up Lakeland, we got Briseño probably almost back, to return to Erie, and then we'll see what they do with them there. But nice to see Wilson there, and Wet Whiska, is just getting his feet wet again after being back in there. But just good to have him back on the mound.
Yeah, he had a nice first inning, and then the second inning fell apart on him, which is this is what the low minors are for.
Yep. But we like Wet Whiska's stuff, so we'll see how.
Yeah, Chris Rodriguez will probably get a call up after this. Possibly get his beak wet in Lakeland. Possibly.
It was interesting. I was watching today.
I'm sorry. When does the season end? Just to be
12
clear.
games left.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, right up there at the top. Okay.
Okay. All right. So our video is up. We can watch it if we want to. But I was looking, they were playing the Phillies today, and I just was noticing the OPSs of the Tigers hitters compared to the Phillies hitters. Like, hey, they actually have a bunch of guys performing in the complex league for, I don't remember, they've had guys do this before. Briseño obviously had a great complex season, and Montilla and stuff, but up and down the lineup, like Christian Perez, I don't even know if he's a prospect. He was a guy we liked 4 years ago, and he's still only 2021, I think. He's having a monster season down there. Tons of power. Ronald Ramirez is having a crazy good season. Angel De Los Santos is having a good season. Chris Rodriguez is having a fine season. I looked at it. I think I tweeted this out too. That he had 5 walks through the first 30 games or something like that, and he had 7 in a 5-game span. So, again, walks in the rookie level. Who knows? Who cares? But the offense down there is really intriguing. Madero has been hitting. Oliveto looks good. So bunch of interesting guys down there. Guillermo Batista just came back. He was a guy who spent 2 years in the DSL, and he immediately started hitting. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they've figured something out on the international front. Unfortunately,
we've even got a backup Pinto down there too.
Yeah, Santiago.
So Adam says he's been watching FCL games on YouTube thanks to your tip. It's been rough to watch, but I have the roster list, and most of the time I can tell who's I'm looking at. Yeah, that is. Oh, go ahead.
The baseball's awful. It's worse. It's worse than DSL. Like every time I go in and I look, I'm like, oh wow, the DSL Tigers 2 scored 4 runs that inning. What happened? And it's like 4 walks, a balk, 2 wild pitches. It was like, oh well, nothing to post as a highlight.
Yeah. You start up writing up a game like, oh, it was 12 to, they beat them 12-2. It was an offensive explosion, and then you start digging. Oh no. Oh God, no. It was an 8-run inning with 3 hits.
So
Yeah.
They Yonan Koba, really really rough. A couple really nasty outings in a row. We saw a little bit of that last year toward the end of the DSL season. Who knows? He's a smaller guy. He faces the Yankees every time he pitches. So I don't know how much. Ryan Hall. We saw him pitch, I think, on one of the days. It's not giving up runs. That's a good start. Owen Hall up and down. Zach Swanson got out there. Was having trouble throwing strikes. It's mostly just nice to see all these guys pitch, right? Like,
they just need to get stretched out, get some reps, by the end of the year, and hopefully have a healthy offseason, and then we'll start next year and see what they can really do.
But I did put that Carlos Rodriguez start up. Roger and I were talking about it a little bit earlier today because he's a guy that I think Fangraphs pointed him out as a Tigers prospect. And he's a lefty with pretty athletic delivery. It's a little bit like a higher slot for a left-handed guy, but he was touching 95. He's a 20-year-old. A couple different breaking balls. I don't know. Like it seems like he has a curveball at like 78, 79, and like a slider at like 83. Maybe it's the same breaking ball. He just kind of manipulates it as a changeup. Throw a fair amount of strikes. It's an interesting arm down there. Any lefty they can hit 95 at 20.
Yeah.
It works for me.
Yep. And throw strikes for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. And DSL.
Yeah.
DSL
Numbers. The one guy I did want to point out is Santiago Ventura, who hadn't played yet, and then his first 2 professional at bats, he hit home runs. I was like, wait a minute, do we have the natural here? What's going on? And then he's got a couple walks and a steal in his next game. Only played 2 games, but it's like, all right, that's a nice way to introduce yourself to pro ball.
Yeah, really, I had never heard of him before. Never heard of him. So that was cool. Maddox Long can't be a real name. I don't know, man. Baseball's full of them.
Where did they sign him from? Because he was an indie ball guy, wasn't he? Maddox Long.
If we need, can we get a Maddox Martinez?
Maddox Long, 6'5", 275.
Woo. Wow, I'll take that.
He went to Harding University, then Ouachita Baptist University, then the University of Arkansas Rich Mountain.
Nice.
Dick Mountain.
Yeah, and now he's in FCL Tigers. Was playing for the Washington Wild Things, the Frontier League.
Oh, okay.
So.
Now I had a good time this last weekend because Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I was at a lake with some old friends and like some of their kids and all that kind of stuff. And one of my buddies has a 14-year-old son, Marshall, who's a pitcher and plays shortstop and stuff. So I've like seen him like every other year, or every summer, for a couple of years, and he just keeps getting stronger and stronger and like has all this stuff figured out. And I was kind of talking to him about Pedro Martinez, like grip work and all that, and he's like, oh yeah, I do that. And I was like, what? So yeah. It was fun. He's throwing like a perfect gyro slider. I was like, how hard do you throw it? He's like, I can maybe touch 80. And I was like, all right, well, don't try any harder. Just chill. You're 14. But he looks like he just like his frame and his face and hair and the whole thing looks like Troy Melton. It was kind of freaking me out.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh man, maybe we might have something.
Yeah. Melton didn't start throwing really hard until senior year in high school, right?
Yeah, he was catching. So.
And even then it was like really hard, was like touch 94 or something like that. Not 99 that we're seeing now.
Yep.
So to end the podcast too, real quick. So the Tigers have a 3-game series starting with the A's before the last games of the homestand before they take on the Phillies to another potential suitor team to trade to, because you never know with Dave Dombrowski. Tigers also have it feels like sometimes Tigers have like their systems they like and guys that they're targeting. So who knows if they're targeting somebody in Philly? Although their system is kind of garbage right now, as far as I'm concerned.
It's not great.
Yeah, it's Dombrowski, so you might be getting Andrew Painter out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Can we get Andrew Painter for Casey Mize? Because I'd probably just do that and see how it goes. I don't know if that's possible. He's got a lot of issues, but still pretty dang talented too. Only 23.
I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. So as far as that goes, the Tigers have Derek Skubal bobblehead day tomorrow. So if I was to suggest there are 2 bobbleheads. And if you know what's going to happen, the quicker you can get down there, the quicker it'll go on the scalping market. So just, do yourself a favor and get down there as quickly as possible to make sure you grab that before they go away. But no, it's going to be, it's a big series this weekend. I know it's like every series is big, but as far as like pitching matchups go, I'm trying to find the pitching matchups. See here, Chris. Here it is. So, by the way, Jack White is doing a mini festival down at Pine Knob. So it was just random at the end of the podcast. So, which is good comparatively speaking. If
Summer festival season's kicking in.
Yeah.
Is REO Speedwagon still touring? Can I still get tickets?
Yeah, but I've seen them live. They are really good live.
I saw them live when I was like 20, and we were like REO Speedwagon, and then it was like, I know all these songs. Okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
We went and saw them down at Cobo for free, like right on the waterfront, like 10 years ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Oh, by the way, you guys want to see?
But they became my standard for like a 70s band that I was like, I'm not going to like this, and then I was like, oh, this was actually a pretty fun concert. Okay.
You guys want to see a cool play by Jim Jarvis to end the podcast?
Jarvis.
Sure.
Jarvis, who got his first RBI tonight, I believe. His first Major League RBI. So, Jarvis, congratulations to former Erie Wolves infielder Jim Jarvis. He was all over the system, but check out this play. Let me check out this play he made, though. First.
Solo homer.
Fuentes,
Didier.
Didier. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so
this is a relay.
Yeah, relay. Look at this. Whoosh! Get out of here, Jarvis.
I was listening to a Baseball America podcast the other day, and they were just picking some of their favorite sleepers in the draft, guys who are like 8th, 9th, 10th round or whatever. And JJ Cooper picked a guy that he just really loves his defense, and it was he went back and looked, and like they had him as a plus defender. And he looked back at like the draft from 3 years ago. He's like, who are the only plus defenders we had? And like in this range, it was like, oh, this guy and Jim Jarvis. And he's like, these guys get to the big leagues. If you can play plus defense at shortstop, you got a chance. And
this is why Yost has such a strong floor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sound draft strategy. What they're doing, other than the high school pitching, even though I fall in love with these high school pitchers every time and go, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But there's a reason
we just need a little.
Don't get drafted in the first round. Both of them can't throw strikes.
Right. We need to just mix in a little more JUCO in college. I know Ethan Scheffelbein something lost last season. Is he ever going to pitch again?
No.
We don't know.
This is Jarvis's first RBI, by the way. Blooper. The left.
Perfect.
Oh, nice.
Clever.
Oh, that's a classic first hit.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jim Jarvis. Jarvis.
But what I will say about Scheffelbein is that we didn't. Paul Wilson disappeared into the ether, and a couple of these guys are. So
no, in that first year, Paul Wilson, it wasn't even like it was like this is not good stuff. This is like 89, 91 with a fastball, and he can't throw strikes, and now he's consistently 94, 96 with a couple breaking balls, and there's something there. If he stays healthy, you look like at least a reliever down the road.
Yep. Got his man strength, and that you just don't know. When they're injured, we just have nothing to say. Like I have no idea what is going. For all I know, Ethan Scheffelbein is pumping iron like a madman and turning himself into an absolute goddamn monster. We could hope.
That'd be sweet.
But probably not. But and as far as we keep trading to Dombrowski, well, I don't know how you leave for Michael Lorenzen is working out just fine in my opinion. So
how you is he's been awesome.
He's so fun.
Yeah,
I know he's I just as a backup infielder, who's like the one right-handed hitter in the mix. And plays like a beast and super intense and super fun. I'm happy. Like just keep grinding that plate discipline a little bit more. We got to get back to that.
And Gregory Soto is just continuing to be Gregory Soto for like 4 different teams now.
But relatively healthy, shockingly. But
he's he gets strikeouts as a lefty, a few too many walks. ERA never quite as low as you'd like. But
kind of the classic dude who like won every 5 outings. You want to fire him into the sun, and the rest of the time he's kind of a monster still. So yeah.
He did get his walk rate down as soon as he left Detroit. I'll say that. It's still a little bit high, but he was consistently over 5 for 9 with Detroit, and it's been consistently under 4 with other teams. So.
Can't argue with that. So. So Tigers and A's this week, in terms of like pitching matchups wise, the A's have not announced who their starters are. At least I don't think as of as of tonight. So Skubal, Melton,
JT Ginn was one of them. I thought.
Oh, JT Ginn was one of them. Okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, that'll be cool to see him.
Okay. But no, nevertheless, then they, like I said, they end the series with. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just saying, well, the next time we see you, it's going to be Saturday.
Yes.
The draft is coming up. We've got the annual Draftapalooza, Draftathon. Raj had you put together a really nice breakdown of doing who's handling what when, because the draft itself starts at like 1, but the Tigers probably won't pick until 3. And then they have 3 more picks. They have 2 comp round or second round comp B, and then round 4. But yeah, so we've kind of ramped up the draft coverage. Raj has written stuff about catchers and pitchers. We had Jerry do some JUCO stuff. Ashley did like a nice piece on 14 different players I think that she thinks fit the Tigers.
That Ashley piece I just read before we got on the air, and it's really good. Everyone should go check that out.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah. She's been killing it every time she's been writing as of late. As far as like first round predictions go, Spangler, Landon Thorn, Jim told me, Landon told me, I'm gonna go pitcher. I'm gonna go pitcher.
Ooh.
I think they're gonna go with a pitcher. You know what? Why not? The Tigers.
No.
What pitcher though? I don't know. That I like to think that it's gonna be the kid from USC, the lefty.
Mason Edwards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Edwards. I like that if he's there, but. The Tigers are just, Tigers. Every time I say they want something, they go the opposite. Like for example, I wanted Cam Smith. They didn't want Cam Smith. That's fine.
I don't think Aiden Ruiz is out of the question either, especially if they decide that they're going to we're going to spread all our money around, like crazy this year, kind of a strategy. I don't know. It should be interesting. Who's that lefty prep pitcher that she was talking about?
Schmidt, Logan Schmidt.
Yeah.
He's one of the. He's been. I've seen him all the way up at like 6 with the Royals, and then like the 3rd round, like it's so hard to predict where high school pitchers are going to go because the money is generally the same. It's just a matter of who's paying them when. Spangler, Ruiz, James Clark, any of these like sort of high school hitters. I do wonder though if they might throw a little bit of curveball there, and I really like that Taylor Rabe guy. We've talked about him before. Ole Miss. You might be able to get him at 22 for like a slight haircut. And then get some of the prep bats or a prep bat and a prep pitcher you like with that 2nd and 3rd pick you have down, save a little bit of money there and throw them each like $2 million or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure they're working out every potential. Maybe that's where Harris has been. Maybe he's just been in the draft bunker for the last 3 months.
You bet they have. That they probably have been like prepping for that. Obviously they have been prepping for that like crazy. So that's where Scotty's spending his time these days. He's down there watching footage.
Yeah,
that's an interesting question at the very end. I know we're trying to get out of here, but does the likelihood we don't have baseball next season make any difference at the deadline or in the draft?
You can listen to the whole last episode where I like droned on and on about this, but we just don't know. Probably every time we go into the CBA, you think like everything's going to change, and everyone's making proposals, and then not that much necessarily will change. But this time doesn't feel that way really. So I just don't know. The comp picks and the qualifying offer structure and all that will probably be carried over, unless they lose the season. So I don't really think that that's like a huge consideration, because if they lose the season, like everything's just screwed anyway. I don't know what we do beyond that. But it's definitely something that you have to consider as far as like, you probably do need to trade, for prospects and not like take any chances of like holding out for the pick or, trying to use that to leverage a contract with Mize. There were a lot of strategies that seemed more possible before some of the, the proposals and counter proposals started coming out. But that might just be me freaking out and overreacting, to some of those proposals, and they won't happen. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't think it'll change the way teams approach the draft, but I do think it's a real thing for people, for the trade deadline. Yeah, like if you feel like your window is now and there might not be a season next year, you might lose your best players, then. And
you might get a salary cap put on you if you're one of the big spenders. You'd think you would go hard. Yeah. You'd think the Dodgers would be going nuts, and the Yankees, the Yankees should be doing a lot. One would assume.
Yeah, the one thing that
Phillies too. Phillies window is starting to creep closed here as well, so they might be someone to watch as usual.
And people always talk about a team blowing up the draft, which nobody's ever done it yet. I don't think anybody ever will. But one of these days, it would be really fun if somebody did that. Which is what I mean is there's a soft kind of cap of what you can spend, and when you go over that, you pay tax. But then when you go over that too much, you lose draft picks, and nobody's ever done that. But somebody could just be like, you know what, screw it.
I'm signing everybody I want right now for $5 million.
The only thing is it like that would probably work for like one round before other teams would be like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
like.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
we're going
true.
to sign this guy. You can't float these guys down for $8 million more than once. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, and no, the minor leagues do not stop playing during a lockout. That happened. They kept playing in 94, 95.
Yeah. Did the draft go as normal?
That I don't know.
I can't remember.
I would assume
I think it did, but I don't know.
because the strike happened or the lockout was after the draft in 94, and then the season came back before the draft.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, they were back on the field, so maybe it didn't even affect it.
We'll see. Nevertheless, we'll be so next time you'll see me. Well, more likely I'll be Thursday. I got softball Thursday. More likely, Saturday draft show, 6 hours plus, and then Sunday we may do something, but probably in a lesser scale. But Saturday is a big draft show. Join us, Scott Bentley, myself, Chris Brown, Ashley will be joining us. A parade of guests throughout the day because it's not fair to everybody to expect. I mean, Bentley's a trooper; he'll go the whole time. But,
and then do 2 podcasts afterward.
Yeah, exactly, because he's a madman. So. But you'll see you on Saturday. Like I said, it'll be on all day. Just come by, hang out with us. We'll be. I got Gordon from Woodward Sports. Like I said, I got a bunch of people because I know full well that more likely I might be doing it this year from the house, Chris, because it's so early in the day. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm still trying to debate.
Jump in the pool.
The pool. And Chris might have to do the jump in the pool. I don't know if anybody wants to see a mid-40s guy jump in his pool anymore. I don't know. I mean,
I do.
That's what makes it better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was just some hottie, then it would just be like any other 90% of the internet, you know?
Yeah,
what makes it special.
Yeah, exactly. This is true. It's true. If I know that somebody asked me last year about having Ashley jump in the pool. I'm like, absolutely not. No, I'm not gonna do that. No.
Don't even ask. Stop,
you
guys.
Yeah,
Calm
stop
down.
being pervs. Yeah, don't be a pervs.
Yeah.
Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Keep it classy. And we will talk to you, some of you guys on Thursday for more Symmetrics.